The number one way that teenagers can feel more confident and be perceived as more confident is first.
And you explain it so easily. It's so easy to understand. And you're just I am so going to use this.
When someone's upset and you go up to them and you say, is everything okay? And they go, I'm fine. Like this, right? And their body language is not connecting with what they're saying. Communication and messaging has been a mission of mine since I was very young. Well, and as young leaders, we have to be aware of what we're doing. So here's a couple things that you have to change in order to appear more confident.
Confidence looks different for everyone. Whether you recharge alone or you get energy from other people, owning your room doesn't mean changing who you are. Today's guest is going to be breaking down how to show up with genuine presence in a way that actually fits your personality. She's a communication and emotional intelligence expert, a TEDx speaker, and award-winning author of Emotional Magnetism. Today's guest is Sandy Gerber. Okay, welcome Mrs. Gerber to the Young Leaders Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Malina. Thanks for having me. I love having a good conversation.
Me too. Before we get into this conversation, though, I want to start off with something fun. So could you introduce yourself, but in a way that's totally different from how you normally do it?
So I'm in communication, and I always say I was the person that people would come to and say, what do I say, Sandy, to get my parents to say yes? So communication and messaging has been a mission of mine since I was very young.
Okay, I like that. I think that was a very simple way to get the point across of what you do. Okay, so I guess we can jump right into the conversation. And the first thing, it will seem like a simple question, but what does confidence really mean?
It's not a simple question. It's a very deep question, and it's a good one because we aren't born with it, right? We have to develop it. We think that we can pick it up from other people, and we think that we can learn it, but we have to actually feel confidence. And confidence is really being aware of what you're saying and how you're feeling and how you're expressing that in different experiences.
Okay. And could you give an example for that?
Yeah. So, I mean, how you express yourself with your friends, you're usually more confident in that situation because you feel there's trust and there's an experience there where you're not going to be judged. How you express yourself maybe in a meeting or in work or an interview is going to be a little bit more different because you're worried about what people are thinking and how you're being perceived and judged. And even think about it if you're on a date, even, right? How you're confident in a date is different because you're really consumed with thinking about the exact words to say and how to come across with someone. So when we look at confidence, it all starts with yourself. It starts with how you feel about yourself and how you express that to people.
So then how can teenagers become more confident in this day and age?
You know, the number one way that teenagers can feel more confident and be perceived as more confident is first to check in on what they're saying with their nonverbal. So what is their body language saying about themselves in a situation? How they speak, their tone, their pace, all these things that actually exude how they feel. Now, when you look at how people are communicating, in the first 4 minutes of meeting someone, your nonverbal communication accounts for more than half of all contact. So people are already making an opinion of you before you've even opened up your mouth. By the way you're holding your body, by the way that you're seated, by the way you're using your gestures and your expressions, they'll make an opinion on you. And so if you're aware of how you're doing that, you're already more confident.
What about introverts versus extroverts? Is there can introverts be confident, or is that only a thing that people have because they're able to talk to others easily as an extrovert?
Yes. Oh, both introverts and extroverts can be confident. It really comes down to what you're saying to yourself, your self-talk, your awareness of how you're feeling in the moment, and then being able to choose how to respond. So introverts get their energy from being by themselves and not around people and being in an environment where they're aware of what they're thinking. And extroverts like me, I get my energy from going to events and being around people. It really isn't about confidence at that point. It's really about understanding what am I feeling and how can I say that in a way that it's heard and valued.
That's a different way to think about it. I would have thought that there would be if you're an introvert, take these 3 to 4 steps and then you can become an extrovert and super confident. And then if you're already an extrovert, just do these 2 to 3 things and you'll become even more confident. But it's not like that, correct?
No, I mean, what it is really looking at what is your nonverbal communication, what your body language is saying about you in a situation, right? So We feel confident when we understand ourselves better, when we also express it in a way that people perceive it as confidence. Just by standing a certain way, you can come across as more confident. There's certain little, what I call connection cues, that you can use at any age to come across more confident.
Okay. And then let's just say if I walk into a room and I had this problem, and I think there might be many people who will relate, but I have a mix of a mean, annoyed, and bored resting face. And that makes me feel like I'm not approachable. But I feel like there's a lot of people that I've met who have like that mean resting face, but when you talk to them, they're like the sweetest person alive. So how can you make yourself look, I guess, more presentable and approachable when you're in a room or an event without having to force yourself to smile like all the time?
Yeah, one of my favorite tools that I teach is called the power of E. So this works for anybody in any situation. I like saying, if they have a resting cranky face, or maybe they're nervous meeting new people, right? A lot of us aren't comfortable walking into new spaces. So the power of E. So what you're going to do is you're going to shape your face like you're saying the letter E. So you can do it with me. Just shape it like you're saying the letter E, not crazy E, just a little bit. And what happens is that automatically your face becomes more approachable and more friendly. This is what broadcasters and speakers have been doing for generations. Now, the thing is, when you're walking into a room, we're mostly uncomfortable at all ages because we're thinking, what are people thinking of me? And when you do the power of E, what happens is you start thinking E, 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 and you're not thinking about what people are thinking of you. And people will see you as feeling, they'll think you're more confident, you're more friendly, you're more trustworthy, just by raising your face a tiny little bit and opening up your mouth a little bit. That makes you come across that way. It's the
So
easiest tip.
just E.
Just the power of E, and that's it. And you can see, like, it's like a smile. A smile is universal, right? And it's also contagious. So when I walk into meeting rooms or networking or meeting new clients, I'll often walk in with a very wide smile, and that is contagious. You can't look at a smile and not smile back. So, well, you can, but we wouldn't want to be like that. I wouldn't want to be friends with you. So the thing is, when you smile, it's contagious and it puts people at ease. And that's the whole point of feeling more confident. It means you feel more at ease with yourself in any situation. And that's why we look at people and we'll say, wow, I wish I had more confidence like them. What we're really saying is, I wish I could be more comfortable like them. And so it's really looking at it that way. It's not having the skills, the expertise, those things. Yes, they're important, but people work and connect with people that they like. So it's just about being at ease more. And if it takes understanding more about your body language or understanding more expertise, then that's the way you should go.
Okay, and then what about like confidence versus ego? Is there, if you try to be confident, but can you appear too confident? Can that cause people to actually not want to approach you?
Yes, great question. So ego and confidence are very different. Ego is really that voice, that inner voice in your head that's telling you what to do, right? It's this voice that's very loud for all of us, that's saying, oh, you need to be better, do better, say this, say that. And so you're listening to that inner voice. Confidence is knowing how you feel and not really listening to that voice, watching the situation and knowing how to act in that situation, trusting yourself, trusting that you're guided to where you're supposed to go.
What are like the first steps that someone can take to get to know more about themselves or be more comfortable with themselves to allow them to be confident when they go somewhere outside?
Yeah, the first thing I like, this is where we're getting into the emotional intelligence territory. And you know what, Malina, the easiest tool I recommend for people, I call it the EQ switch. And so that's how you shift from being in a scared, fearful kind of situation to feeling a little more confident. It's 3 quick steps. First, you realize, what am I feeling right now? Where is it showing up in my body? Right? So when we feel emotion in our body before it registers in our mind. So first thing to do is, oh, I'm feeling awkward in my stomach, or my shoulders are tense, or my jaw, or my face is getting hot. Noticing where it's showing up in your body. The second step is to name that emotion. When you actually name what you're feeling to yourself, what am I feeling? This pain in my stomach, or this weirdness in my face. I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling judgment. And you say that to yourself. And this is backed by neuroscience. It's called effect labeling. When you name your emotion to yourself, it actually calms your brain down. You actually calm down. So just by saying to yourself when you walk into a room, I feel nervous, you can feel that in your body and your body will calm down. And then the third is the most important thing. I call it the EQ breath. You're going to take 3-second breath quietly in through your nose and 4 seconds out through your mouth. And that calms your body down. Now you're ready to choose any response you want. So this is all part of, think of it as like building a muscle, continuing to grow your muscle in your confidence. And those are the 3 steps you can do. And the more you do it, the faster you get it. I go on stages now, or I teach and do keynotes and training. And even before I get on stage in front of hundreds of people, I'll do those 3 steps. So you can teach yourself these tools that then ultimately build more confidence in yourself.
That is so cool. I did not know that if you, I guess, repeat or talk about what you're feeling in your mind, and then it'll just calm it down. Why does that happen? Do you know why?
It's like neuroscientists at UCLA have come up with this and called it effect labeling. So they've studied this. I started wondering, I dug into it because I really wanted to know more about the communication and behavior, and I started reading about neuroscience. I found it fascinating. And so I found that this term wasn't only good to just name your emotion, it actually physically calms you down. And I was like, well, this is something everyone needs to know. So we don't typically share our emotions. It's just something we're not used to doing. And so I'm very big fan of sharing emotional vocabulary. What are you feeling? How are you feeling right now? And sharing that with people, because that's how true connection is made.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's something that we're lacking a bit as well when it comes to talking with others, is that, I mean, over text, it's easy because you don't really put the emotion the same way on text. You just be like, hey, I'm kind of feeling down. I'm not coming to school today. Rather than going and talking to, like, let's just say it's your parent and be like, hey, mom, or hey, dad, I'm not feeling the best right now. I'm feeling like this. I don't feel like going to school. I feel like that's harder nowadays to say for many people compared to when it was before, because you can easily communicate. And then, so I just want to reframe it. So the 3 main ways to help yourself feel calm or get to know, or I guess get ready before you do something, is first is to find out where,
Locate it in your body.
locate it in your body. And then
First is to locate it. Where is it showing up? Is it showing up in my jaw, my shoulders, wherever? The
okay.
second is to name it. So what's that emotion you're actually feeling? I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling neglected. And the third is to take that breath, calm your body down, 3 seconds in quietly and 4 seconds out. And I use that specific breath because it's based in yoga practices. It's another way to physically calm your body down. So now you're in a grounded place where you know what you're feeling and how it's showing up in your body. Now you can choose to respond the way that you want to in an emotional, intelligent way.
That is super cool. I will try that out. I think I actually recommend everyone who's watching this, whenever you're going to go into the next room, the next meeting, even if you're going to do a presentation in front of your class, take the time, figure out what you're feeling, do these exact 3 steps. And I know right now what I'm feeling is very excited. I'm very happy because this is like such a fun conversation so far. So let's go into the next question, where I want to ask about what is emotional intelligence, because you've talked about the word a few times now, but like, what does it actually mean?
So, we have like IQ and intellectual capacity that you have. And then we have EQ, which is your emotions. So it's being aware of how you're feeling and then your ability to express that to people. So this isn't something I created. This has been around since the 90s. Much study has been done on this and rooted in a lot of facts and figures. And the thing is, with emotional intelligence, it's not like a number like IQ where you have it for life. It changes depending on what's happening in your life. So, it's something that it's now being called the most competitive skill to have in the workplace, because we are, especially with AI and technology and the rapid pace that we're moving, being able to connect with people is even more important. And being able to do it in an emotionally responsible way is absolutely essential.
Okay. And then when you were talking with the AI part, what are your thoughts on what AI will do to a person emotionally compared to what it was, let's just say, 10 years ago?
The thing with AI and relationships is that, I think I did an interview a few months ago for teens specifically. And I was amazed to find the research that at that time, it was like 70% of teens were using it, and like half of them were using them as companions, right? And so it's not surprising to me because AI validates people, right? It validates how you're feeling. And we like that. We like people who validate how we're feeling, especially at a young age. The concern I have with AI is that, and what studies are showing, is that when you're used to communicating with AI, like I had a woman at a workshop say to me recently in tears, she was so upset because her daughter's best friend was an AI companion, an AI bot. And she asked for my opinion. And I said to her, what's happening is that she's finding a space that's trusted, that's safe, that she can share what she's feeling and what she's questioning, and she's getting content back that she trusts, and there's no judgment around that, and that's great. But it does not simulate an exact it doesn't replicate a relationship. It's not real like a relationship. Relationships are messy and confusing and emotional. And so when you're just working with AI as a companion, you're not getting that piece. And so what's happening is with text, with the speed that we're going on through, and with AI, we're not getting the real sense of connection with humans, human to human, as we used to. And so the younger generation, it's tough for you guys as young leaders. It's tough because you're trying to accelerate with technology, but no one's guiding you on the human relationships and the important parts of how to really connect with people. So I think with AI, you have to watch it as a source of information, but true connection happens human to human.
Yeah, human to human connection is something that AI can never replace. I think nowadays, as people are more into the devices, they don't spend enough time, even if it's not with AI, even if it's just scrolling, they relate to other people's videos and stuff. They don't talk to others who can relate with them and give them the feedback that they want. Like if someone, you're telling them that, hey, I like eating this food, and someone doesn't like it, you're not gonna really, I mean, that's a small example, but they probably won't like that. They don't, if you don't relate with them the same way. And then AI, like I use AI on a daily basis. It helps me with my work, with teaching and everything. But it literally agrees with everything that you say. If I say no, you are wrong, this is the right answer. Oh, my bad, Malina. I apologize. Here's the correct answer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why didn't you just give that to me before? But it will agree with everything you say. You can yell at it. It's like, I'm sorry. And you're like, okay, you know what? I feel bad for yelling at it after. But when you yell at like an actual person, which I do not recommend, don't do that. But if you do, then you're not going to like the response because they're going to yell back at you. And then I think that's what's probably causing a bigger divide as well. And then it's just going to make it harder in the future.
What's important there is that we understand and we learn tools to communicate how we disagree with people in a respectful way, right? To be able to share how you feel in a respectful way that's heard. So there's a great tool that I share. I call it the honest sandwich. And this is great for all ages as well. But so it's, again, 3 steps. My whole purpose is to make communication simple. We weren't taught this stuff, most of us, right? So using little tools like this are easy ways to put them in your pocket and use them when you need them. So honest sandwich is a tool you use. Let's say you're having a disagreement or you feel hurt that your friend has done something to you. There's a situation. And so you want to talk about it, but most of us will just kind of push it down and deal with it later, or give them the silent treatment or whatever, or fight. And so the best way to do this is 3 steps. So first, you're going to start with what you feel. This is powerful. We don't usually start a conversation by sharing how we feel about something, right? We don't share our emotions. So first you say, you know what? I'm feeling frustrated that you said that about me, or I'm feeling hurt that you said that about me. So what happens when you do that? We typically start with, you did this to me, right? And the person's automatically defensive. So when you start with how you feel, the person is more open to hearing what you have to say. So that's the biggest difference. The second thing is to say, okay, I feel frustrated or I feel hurt. The second thing is to say, feel, need, next. What do you need? Right? Tell them what you need. So I feel hurt that you said this to me. What I need is to know that you're still my best friend. That's what you need in that situation. So tell them what you need. And then lastly, tell them what you're going to do going forward or next time this happens. So going forward or next time, could you say it to me instead of whispering it to other people or putting it on social? Like think about the situation. So feel, need, next. Think of it as a sandwich. And I'll tell you, it is such a powerful tool to connect with people when you really want to maintain that connection. That's the tool to use.
Okay, so the best way when you're in an argument or you have something, you should use the three things, which is to feel, need, next. So you tell them how you're feeling, then you tell them what you need, and then you tell them what you're going to do next time or what they should do next time.
That's right. Yeah. And then that moves the conversation forward, right? So you're not stuck in this blame game and you're not stuck in all the anger and the emotion. You're like, here's what I felt. Here's what I need. And here's going forward. I even used it yesterday with my sister. She called me and we were chatting and she said something. And I was like, oh, that hurt my feelings. And so I stopped the conversation right when she stopped talking. And I said, that comment, I felt hurt by that comment. I need to know that you're not judging me by what I'm saying. Can you go over that sentence again with me? And so that doesn't happen again. And we just did it. And in 2 seconds, what could have turned into hours of me thinking about it after the call was resolved in 2 seconds. So this is the power of authentically sharing how you feel. And that's emotional intelligence. And that's where confidence comes from. The more you start using these tools, the more you feel confident talking about yourself and others in any situation.
And you explain it so like easily. It's like so easy to understand. And you're just like, I am so going to use this.
Good. Excellent.
I think like our viewers, if you're a teenager, actually anyone, you can actually use this with your siblings as your first, I guess, victim
Yes.
on trying and seeing how this works. Because it's interesting because I never thought of it that way. Like obviously many people they go through the silent treatment or the yelling or just I'm just gonna ignore you and not talk to you ever again type of thing. But one thing I know is when you talk to someone about how you feel so much better. Like with my parents, if I'm like at school, when I used to be at school, and I found something that I didn't like or something uncomfortable, instead of holding it in, I would tell my parents because during the day, it's all like you can't just call them and be like, hey, this is what happened, and I'm feeling like this. Then that whole day, you just feel heavy. And then the second I tell my parents, I'm like, you know what, this didn't make me feel the best. And they're like, that's okay. We'll talk about it. And then they obviously help resolve it. And then you feel so much relaxed. And it's so much better to talk to a trusted person rather than keeping it up because then it's like you're bottling up your feelings and on one day it's just going to explode.
It builds, right? Like you
Exactly.
end up, then what happens is you like start collecting evidence, right? So you're like,
Mhm.
they were wrong and they were also wrong here and here and here. And then by the time you talk to them, you're just spouting out all this stuff when it
Exactly.
really was this big. So
Mm.
resolving it in the moment, using a tool, and also using the structure in your head makes you stay calmer, right? I
Yeah.
feel, I need, and next, right? So
Yeah.
it helps you stay calm.
Okay. And now when you're talking about, I'm going to go back to the body language part. When it comes to body language, what are some things that you should do with your body so that you don't look like you're hunched up and I don't want to be here, but instead like, I don't really want to be here, but I'm here now, so there's nothing I can do about it. And then, like, what are the best ways to, I guess, have your body language for that?
Yeah, I love teaching young people body language because we should be taught it in school a lot more. So a couple tips I'll share with you. Are you taught that in school?
No, nothing. Everything I think that's like the biggest reason I have this podcast. No, everything I've talked about with every single one of my guests, none of it was taught in school. So
Wow.
you can go ahead and you can tell us.
I'm so glad that you're doing this, Malina. It's so important and so needed.
Thank you.
So body language. So a couple quick tips, right? Obviously, like as I said, first 4 minutes, people are making an opinion of what you're saying before you even speak. So we believe body language before we believe words. Like you think about when someone's upset and you go up to them and you say, are you upset? Or is everything okay? And they go, I'm fine. Like this, right? And their body language is not connecting with what they're saying. And so you don't believe them. And so we have to be aware as young people and as young leaders, we have to be aware of what we're doing. So here's a couple things that you have to change in order to appear more confident. One is to watch your tone and your pace. So the tone of your voice and the pace at which you're speaking. Younger people tend to speak faster, really fast. They get energized and excited. And I'm not telling you to calm down. I'm just telling you that the faster you speak, the less people can hear
I
because
am
you're
going
going
for
to.
that. I speak.
And so am I. It's okay, but that's something to pay attention to. And one thing that's an easy tip is to mirror what someone's doing. So let's say you go into a situation. If they're leaning forward, you lean forward. If their arms are crossed, you cross your arms. If their tone is high, raise your tone. If it's slow, slower your tone. So mirror what they're doing, because subconsciously that tells people that you're like them. And we like people who are like us.
Correct.
So that's the easiest way to quickly build rapport. I often advise people on a date. That's the best thing to do. And then the second thing, where, eye contact, we all know we're supposed to keep eye contact, but no one really tells you how to do that. So what you need to do is look at this triangle on the face, from the nose to the eyes here. That space, when you're talking to someone, you should be looking at it at least 60% of the time. So you're looking away, you look back to that space, because some people are really uncomfortable looking into the eyes, right? So that's a good little place to remember. Another thing is to avoid phubbing. Phubbing is your phone. Everybody has a phone and we love our phones. But when that phone is out, or your watch, and you look at that, you're snubbing someone. Subconsciously, that person feels less important. Best thing to do is not only just turn your phone over, put it off the table completely. There's different things like that. Also, your posture, having your posture open is really important. It means you're receptive instead of like this. And one of the best ones is a head tilt. So when someone's paying attention to you, and when you're listening to someone, if you want them to feel like you're really engaged, like let's say your teacher, you want them to like you more, tilt your head, tilt your head. So when you tilt your head, that's a universal sign of engagement. So being aware of how these body language pieces come into play, really important. And one last one that I have to share, because it's a pet peeve of mine. It's called up talk and vocal fry. So
Okay.
up talk happens with young leaders a lot. Up talk is when you're talking and all of a sudden you're asking a question instead of a statement. So you're saying, someone says, can you do this by this date? And you'll say, I think I can.
Uh-huh.
So you raise this question you raise it to a question at the end. And what that makes you feel, and how you come across, is less confident. So you want to lower your tone at the end of a sentence, not raise it up. And then vocal fry is what we've picked up from celebrities. It's that gravelly, like kind of voice that you make, and you want to avoid that at all costs, because we think it sounds cool, but it actually affects your credibility. People think you're less intelligent. There's so many that it's just so fun. One of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's exciting as well to learn about all these different tricks that you can use, and they can be used for big events or small events as well. Like for example, I'm gonna stick on the teenagers because that's kind of who this is for. The teenagers, if they have even a small presentation to do in front of their class, or people want to ask them like questions in the Q&A, I think that this will help them as well.
Yeah, a good thing for presentations for them to know is when you stand with your weight evenly between both feet, not on one leg or the other. And also put your hands out, like palms up is a sign of trust. So when you say to the room, hello, everyone, I have a presentation to do, you're using your hands like this, automatically, subconsciously, they trust you.
Okay. That is something I will use on my next presentation. And I think everyone else should use. Honestly, this, like, I could ask you like millions and millions of questions about this because it's like so fun to learn about and everything, but we are getting closer to the end. So we're going to end it off with two parts. One is the mystery question. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to ask you a random weird question, and then would you rather sessions. Are you ready for it?
Bring it on.
So if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you ask them?
My mom is popping into my intuition right now, and that's because she's passed on. And so I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with her. I always follow my intuition. So I'm going to go with that answer. It would definitely be my mother. And I'll tell you why, because even though she's deceased now, when she was younger and we were younger, we were teenagers like you. She, she put herself back through school and became a psychotherapist. Now, she was staying at home with the 4 kids, and she had 4 kids under 4. So, I mean, it was crazy time. And when we became teenagers, she put herself back through school because she wanted to learn. And ultimately, she created her own business.
Wow.
So I always looked at her as a icon of success for women. You know, I wanted to have a family and I also wanted to have a business. And she showed that it's possible to do both at any age. So if I was to have dinner with her, I'd probably ask her, you know, some key insights onto, because I was a teenager at the time. I didn't really care what she was doing. I was in my world, right? So I would have loved to ask her, you know, how did you, some key learnings from being an entrepreneur, from creating your own business, how she felt she raised us well, things like that. You know, the stuff that you take for granted when your parents are around. I know, like, I had a tumultuous relationship with her. And then in my 30s and 40s, we were really, really close after I had my own kids and realized, wow, that's not an easy job. And so I think having a conversation with her now would be really humane. It would be very interesting for me to find out her insights on being an entrepreneur and a mom.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool that she got to take care of all 4 of you guys, and then she had her business on the side. She went back to school, and it's not easy to go back to school when you're like, especially when you're finished the typical school age, because people think that, why are you going back to school? Did you not finish it or something? And whether you did or not is up to them. And if they want to keep on learning, I mean, you have a beautiful life to spend time to do whatever you want. I think you should just go for whatever you want to do. That's incredible. That's amazing.
Thanks.
And
She was an amazing woman.
that's amazing. That's beautiful. And then, what would be your mystery question for any of our next guests?
My question would be, what was something that you noticed about you as a child that you still use or have as a characteristic now as an adult?
Okay. What is yours?
Curiosity. I
Curious.
mean, I was like, I'm still like a 3-year-old, right? I'm so curious. I love asking why and figuring things out. And that curiosity is a big part of my job. I mean, it's the foundation of connection, right? So
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I'm still curious at this age.
That's amazing. I think you should always be curious. That's the only way you'll learn. My dad always tells me, actually both my parents, they always tell me that if you don't understand something and they try to repeat it to you like 3 or 4 times, still ask why, still ask, like, you should
Yeah.
not stop yourself from asking questions because someone else can't explain it or someone else doesn't know the answer to it. If you're curious about something, ask away, and if you can't get the answer from someone else, find it yourself.
That's right. I love that. And it's so true because curiosity has led me down some amazing paths, right? And also, like, my husband and my family laugh at me because I'll go grocery shopping and I'm so curious. By the time I'm done my checkout, I know the person's life story and what they're doing. And, you know, I've built these connections. And I think our world needs more of that right now. We
Yeah.
need more connection, more people asking about other people, you know, and
Mhm.
just more love and care in the world.
Yeah, I hope that there's more. I mean, there's happiness, but I think we can get some more happiness, love, care, kindness in the world.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to end it off with the Would You Rather session. It's only 3
Okay.
questions, but they're random, not related. And are you ready for some unnecessary questions?
Sure. Yeah, no.
Okay, so the first one is, would you rather only listen to one song for the rest of your life or never listen to the same song twice?
I'm driven by experience. You know, from my book, I'm driven by experience. So I need new and spontaneous and everything. So definitely the answer is to listen to different songs.
Would you rather have to sneeze but never be able to, or have an itch you can never scratch?
Oh, probably an itch you can never scratch, I think, because keeping all that in, I express myself. So keeping a sneeze in would probably be very painful.
How do you choose an itch? Like, if I have an itch, it's like I need to scratch it. If I have a sneeze, I think I could still live with that. I don't know how you're going to be able to do
I
that.
don't know. A lot of meditation, Malina, a lot of meditation.
Okay. Okay, and then the last one is, would you rather have a llama that spits on people that you don't like, or a parrot that judges you every second of the day out loud?
Oh, definitely the llama. The llama is so just You had me at llama. I didn't even hear the spit part. I was just like, I want a llama.
I would love a llama.
I would too.
They're so cute. Thank you so much, Mrs. Gerber. This was such an incredible conversation. I learned a lot, and I hope that everyone else who's listening to this also did. If you stayed till the end, comment below what your answers would be for the Would You Rather questions. I'll see you next time on the Young Leaders Podcast.